3 coplanar points, and bam,
The Earth
there's
is flat.
radius of the Earth.
On the level.
The way I phrase it is a monument to the curvature of the Earth. It really
totally
is.
agree with you.
Level.
It really
totally
is.
agree with you.
Level.
And bam,
The Earth is
there's
flat, and this is a
radius
fact.
of the Earth.
Well, also, I went over with you about the bookshelf thing, about how you can have a bookshelf that's level, one that's flat, one that's level and not flat, one that's level and is flat, one that's both flat and level.
The
My
problem
walls
is
are flat.
It's neither.
He said nothing about flat. He said level is horizontal.
My
Yeah,
walls
but
are
he's
flat.
using that to say that it's flat.
So
Yeah, but
horizontal,
my
the
walls
horizontal
are flat.
plane. Yeah,
Hang
right,
on.
guys. It's a
My
very
walls are flat.
specific
So-
position.
My walls
So you
are
mean
flat,
flat.
but they're not
You mean flat.
horizontal. My walls are flat, yet not horizontal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, he's not saying that all things are flat or horizontal. He's saying all things that are level or horizontal, and all things that are horizontal are flat.
Oh,
What?
okay.
The problem is with
He
the
didn't say that
definition.
stuff, but that's okay.
The problem is with the definitional level, you got one of them a straight line, a straight flat line, and the other one's the exact opposite. It's a curve. It can be a curve or whatever,
Who said that?
like not straight.
How do you have something that is both straight and not straight?
I'm on your side of this.
Yeah.
That's what they'll say though. Those, it's two opposing
Well,
definitions.
let
of the
them
word.
say that, and then we'll hear it
Okay,
from their mouths,
okay.
then, right?
From the very beginning, let's get this part straight. When we're talking about a great circle, and it's being
You still need to sort your
analogous
mic
to a
out.
straight line in flat plane geometry, we're not saying that it's flat or straight in every sense. But there is an analogy to it being straight, whereby it's neither curving left nor right. There's other things to go into with it, but we don't really need to. You need to quit acting
Is there
like
any
we're-
sort of
excuse me,
curvature to it?
Bab. No, stop, wait.
You still need to
Calm
sort
this
your
down.
mic out.
Thank you. Now, like I said, we don't treat this or proclaim it to be the same thing as a straight line in flat planar geometry. That is a straw man argument, and you guys need to stop making it. I'm going back to eat now. Now argue honestly.
Okay, right. So can I ask then again, what is the definition? Like, do you have two? You've got one
Of
that
what?
produces a circle and one that's a straight line, right?
Talk to me again. What do you want to know?
Real simple. This is real simple. Just make another word that means each to different concepts, and stop debating about what one word means.
It's level
It's so
and
stupid.
curved.
No, you guys
Yeah.
are here, right, talking about the shape of the Earth. Right?
No, you're conflating two different concepts with the same word. Just stop doing that
Two
shit so we
different
can move
concepts.
forward.
What you're talking about?
Exactly.
Bev, I did see
You know
your video
exactly
on
what
the
we're talking
Rumpus versus whoever, the other guy who was talking, and you had the little diagrams of the water level and the pipes and all this, and like, dude, I just think you didn't extend the full arguments of the people. Like, this really isn't a thing, man. Please, like, I guarantee you, both people on both sides understand what would happen in the water pipes experiments on a flat Earth or globe Earth if extended and exaggerated rigid or exaggerated around the curve of the Earth. Either way, we all know what it would look like on both models.
And
So
what's
this
that
is
then?
like so waste of time.
Right. So then there's a difference, right? There's on the
Between
two
what?
different models
Yeah.
that you have.
So
there
stop
is
talking
a
about the
difference.
words and let's do the experiment.
Okay.
Seriously.
Right. So who said that?
This is the press done.
Right. Are you speaking for who you're speaking for? Because I've had a lot of people tell us that there's no difference.
In what?
Okay, dude. I'm sorry, but don't pay them any time, dude. I would tell you, just stop talking about this.
Right,
You see what the water would act like on both models, so stop talking about
Okay,
it.
so
It's
would
irrelevant.
you say then that if it was over a mile and we put a tube in the center of a water level, would you say there would be a rise for that bit in the center?
So see, you see, this is the point where, like in your video, you're not there's 4 ways that you could see the diagram, right? So when you're saying if we put a pipe and then a pipe in the middle, you got to say either you created this pipe system following spirit levels along, or you kept it rigid on
water
purpose.
level,
okay,
dude.
so it's different. So you need to set up the experiment. You know what I mean? And then do it, dude. We all know what's gonna happen.
What? Go on.
So
What's
don't
going
give
to
me
happen?
your open-ended question. You haven't even told me the premise
What's
of
going
the
to happen?
experiment.
What
But
do you think's going to happen?
I'm not sure. I think
Oh,
if we
but you
force
said
the
we all
line, I
know
mean,
what's
we
gonna
might see
happen.
some pipes go right off into space if we kept it fucking solid, rigid as we could. Maybe if the Earth is a globe, that shit'd go straight off into space. You know what I'm saying? If exaggerated.
know,
Yeah,
you
Come on,
sound
man.
like
that's
Like,
two different setups.
making a load of
yeah, there's 2
weird
different setups you
noises
could
there,
do.
If
talking
you keep
about
something
nothing.
level, if you keep something level for whatever distance over a mile, and make sure it's level the whole way, there's nothing to tell you that that thing's flat or straight
Right,
or anything like that.
right.
So
You gotta
you
keep it
can't tell.
rigid.
Are you a
Yeah, right.
two-dimensional earther? Are we having
No,
that?
no, I'm telling you that just by doing that you can't tell. The way Slice Sparse Kane was going to do it was he was going to make that that pipe, and he was going to make a camera so you can see straight down it, so you can make sure it was straight, and then determine after that where the water line was on the whole
That
thing.
is a cool way to make it rigid. That's really
Right, so
cool.
that
way.
is that
I
the
could
way?
get behind that.
Is that the way that you said would be no good? Because that wouldn't
No,
work.
he just said it's fine.
Oh, right, but you were not when you said earlier.
Wait,
Yeah, because he didn't just describe that. He was saying that you could see if it's rigid, or and you were saying you could see it's level. I'm saying that those two things wouldn't be the same thing, but you could make sure it was rigid or make sure it was straight by doing going down the camera and making sure that they're level.
Somebody
can see a
explain how that's
curvature,
supposed to
can he?
work? Slide Spark Kane's idea, because I'm not up to date on that one.
Well, I don't know if he ever accomplished it, and he said that he was on Jose's talking about it the other day, but he was talking about having basically like a long hose with like tubes going up
15
at different
at
segments
100
of it.
meters.
Right, hold on.
15 times 100.
That's fine, Bev. Hold on though.
Because
This guy hasn't heard it. Hold on for a second, Bev. Hold on.
You don't seem to know what you're talking
Bev,
about.
please stop speaking. Okay, please, for 1 second. Anyways, and along this hose, there's like these upward tubes so you basically have a liquid going all the way through this bottom hose upwards, and then again, it's coming up on these tubes. You'd have a camera that would be looking down those upward tubes, so you can see that it's going a straight line, and then you would determine that the water is the same level on those lines or not the same level.
I'm not so sure he'd appreciate that. He's not doing the same test as what he already did the first time.
I'm describing that test, Bev. I'm not describing something that he's doing that's new.
Well, yeah, that was designed to fail. All the water leaked out of it. It didn't work. Didn't get anything done with that one. So he's gone to a new test that he's calling the Bending Water Test 2. And, like, he's one of your top guys, right? I mean, he's...
Are you going to describe it, Bev?
I thought you would
describe his new test. I just described it. You said that's his old test. And so you say he's got a new test. So go ahead and describe his new test, Bev.
He's got 15 100-meter water levels. Like mine, but just loads of little ones. 100 meters. And he's going to put them all in a line along the side of a canal. And he's going to look down. And then I think he said something about he's going to get a little foam-powered boat with a little thing on the side, and he's gonna get the laser level from the canal to the side of these things. I don't know. I mean, you'll have to watch it. He won't really talk to us about it, so I can't really speak that much about his water level test. He won't talk to us about his test.
Me and Jesse did something similar to that with Little Tinsa's Bayou experiment, but we just measured from the water level up to a certain height.
You put lights on it. Is that one?
Yeah, put lights, yeah.
Yeah, is that Sly?
No, that was me.
Who was that?
Soundly and Jessica's last.
Oh, yeah, I think I'd seen that. Yeah. So you just measured up from the water, right?
Right.
Yeah. Did you see the one that Tony did out showing that afterwards?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, he showed us that the other day. All the lights are moving about all over the place. They're up and down, and so it's not.
You're talking about my video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we're moving up and down.
Yeah.
That's what we expected to happen. That basically everything conformed to what we expected.
Yeah, so sometimes it went up and sometimes it went down, and so basically, really, you can't look at anything. It's no use looking and using a camera to sight anything because
which
moves, right?
Right. Well, that's what everybody wanted to argue about, but then you put the GPS on it and you realize that it actually does conform to that. That's the whole thing. That's why the last experiment we did pretty much answers all the questions.
Did you put the GPS on it? Oh, you mean the GPS on the big bridge?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to go over that. But, I mean, yeah, you seen that it was 5.8 meters all the way across it, right, on that one, on that bridge. But you, like...
It was basically the, pretty much within centimeters of, each waypoint was within centimeters of each other. Like within the error range for GPS, for the GPS.
Yeah, 5.8 meters above the... Well,
I don't know the exact number. I mean, 5.8. I guess that's you've looked at the measurements, but I don't remember the exact number. I just remember there being
I'll
right
put it
next
in
to
here
each other.
for you.
No, I don't really care because it seems to be the actual height is completely irrelevant. It's just that they were all the same height. That's what really matters.
Yeah. So it's a straight line, like, right?
3 coplanar
No,
points.
it's not a straight line. It's a curve.
Even though they were the same height, like.
Right. Exactly. That's the whole point.
Right. So, like,
the same height above the water.
Same elevation, then.
Same elevation, correct.
3 coplanar points.
Line, yeah.
Okay. So, with it being a curved line, there's a.
He was doing the Bislin hump.
You guys keep talking about humps. It's just a curved line. I don't know why you want to call it a hump.
Oh, well, like if you take a point from one end of the bridge to the other.
3 coplanar points.
Right.
What, if I take a straight line from one end of the bridge to the other, it makes a curved line?
Correct.
Real quick.
That makes a straight line. Like a straight line makes a straight line.
Bev, it was
No,
quiet
it's not a
when I
straight line,
started. It's a simple little point. Most people in the educated world.
He was doing the Bislin hump.
Is going to occur due to a change in elevation. Okay? Get that through your head.
Okay. So if I take a point from one end of the bridge to the other and draw a straight line across it, is there a difference in height across that straight line?
What? Say that again?
If I imagine, right, on the deck of the bridge on one side, a straight line going from that deck of the bridge to the other deck of the bridge at the other side of the shoreline.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And draw a straight
You're creating
line.
a chord. Got it. Okay.
No, a straight line, right?
Right. You're creating a chord.
Is there a difference in height
Well,
over
it could be a chord,
the center?
It could also be like extension.
Yeah. So you're creating a chord. So yes, there's a curve, the outside edge of a circle, and then a chord through it. So that those are two different places, right? So of course there's a difference between those two spots.
Okay, so there is a difference in height.
I don't know why you keep saying difference in height. You see, it's not real clear what you even mean by that.
Well, I'm just talking real world, like, because we're imagining a straight line going from one edge of the bridge to the other. So is there a difference at the center, is what I'm asking.
It's a semantic con.
There would be a from a straight line.
If you draw a chord, there's a sagittal in the middle. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Not a hump.
Now, because of that bridge being that size, what is it, 23 meters? 23 miles, sorry. Right?
24 from coast to coast.
24, okay. How much is that Sagita?
I don't know. I'd have to work it out.
Anyone?
I said, I don't know. I'd have to work it out, but suffice to say there is one.
Yeah, okay. So Walter made a model, right, for you. And do you not know what that distance is meant to be? I can tell you if you want. I was hoping that you might know, because...
I don't like arguing about irrelevancy, so what's the point?
Well, do you want me to tell you what it says on Walter's model, and I guess your model as well, because that's the one you go with, right?
Okay, why are we even talking about it? This is the question I'm asking you. Who cares? There is one. There is
Okay. All right. So it's 24.5 meters, in case you didn't notice it. But
If anybody wants to check this math, that's the chord. It's 28 point, like rounded off to 28.5, let's say, or 28.46 if you want to go to the nearest centimeter. And this is the length from the first level point that I kept in my sample to the last level point. And that's the distance.
So pretty interesting, that shape that you just showed us there, Jesse. Would you like to expound on that a little bit?
This shape right here?
Yeah.
Well, it looks curved to me. Is that where you're going with this? I mean, it's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah.
It's on that stream.
I'm sure I did notice it. I'm sure I did notice it a year and a half ago whenever we did this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just slipped your mind. But 24.5 meters right now. So let's say you're stood at one edge of the bridge, right? Are you saying that by that being 24 meters higher, or difference, or whatever, like what
difference?
Would that then become the geometric position of your horizon? Like, would you expect to see beyond that, or would that be your limit, since that is where the hump is?
Fraction.
Holy fuck!
What is it that you're actually even saying? I'm not exactly sure what you're saying.
Well,
your vision is going to intersect the sphere before that hump.
Oh, so you are saying there's a geometric edge then?
Is there a geometric edge?
Yeah.
Again,
because you've done a geometric model.
This is the thing. I don't like it whenever you guys just throw random words out there and
That's
don't
not
even
a random
describe
word, is it?
Sure, it is. Geometric edge. That's completely arbitrary. Nobody knows what the fuck.
You've just done geometry with chords and sagittas, right? So that's geometry, and then you position yourself at one of the ends
geometric
of the chord.
Edge. Please define what you mean by geometric edge. Number one. Number two. Edge of what? See, this is what I'm talking about. If you don't describe what you mean by those words, then they mean nothing.
Right. So you've done some geometry on a circle. You've made a chord, all by the helps of curved, was it?
Done some geometry on a circle.
Are you going to let me finish, or are you just going to?
I really don't want to let you finish because you're just.
I know you don't want to
semantic
let me
games.
finish. It's bad. I can tell.
No, it's not bad. It's that you play semantic games, and it's a waste of everybody's
This is
time.
words, and I'm using them to describe the geometry that you've just done.
No, you're using them to introduce confusion on purpose. That's what you're doing.
So you've just done geometry. I'm explaining.
Done geometry. Please explain that.
Right, you've made a chord, and then you've made a sagitta. Sagitta is a distance. Doesn't really matter what it is. But then you travel to one of the ends of the chord.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're looking towards that chord.
Okay, so now realize that you have this circular cap, okay? Or the spherical cap that you're looking at now. You have to look through that spherical cap.
No,
your
I'm just
vision is
still
going to
trying to
hit the
get
edge
you,
of that
imagine
spherical
you
cap.
to stand on a chord.
You got to let him finish.
You can't even see the top of the spherical cap. Like, that's the thing. Your vision is already being obfuscated by the spherical cap. It's being obstructed by the spherical cap.
So a geometric edge, then, right?
There is a
the geometry that you've
position
just
where
made
your
is
vision
the limit of
will
your
intersect
vision,
with
right?
the sphere. There is a position where your vision will intersect the sphere, and we call that a horizon.
Yeah, geometric. You've just placed the geometric thing.
We have a horizon because we have an atmosphere and we have refraction, and this has been explained to you thousands of times.
No. I didn't say horizon. It's just a geometric edge.
No, we're talking about what we see. Yes, there is a geometric horizon that is affected and refracted by atmosphere. The same way as things like the sun
it's just done it with geometry.
is refracted from the atmosphere.
You stood 12 miles away from a 24-meter hump.
It's just
there's a point here.
affected by the refraction.
Can't see the other side of
And
that
the
geometric
fact that we
hump, can you?
see the other side of it because of refraction, and I've just
Russ,
posted
it's
a
not
video.
really relevant.
No, I like.
This is irrelevant, and
Just
Bev
this is just an
laboring
effort to
under the
explain to you that
misconception.
level is horizontal, right?
Is my mic
There's-
broken?
There's no hump.
Is my mic
It's
broken?
not. It's not.
All right, now I was trying to make a point here, Bev. You're laboring under the misconception, I believe. I'm trying to get you to clarify now, giving you an opportunity.
Is
And
his mic bad for everybody, or is that just me?
Stop.
Bev, this is not your time to talk. You listen to the question, you respond to it. Now, are you laboring under the misconception that the sagittal, the midpoint of that curve, up to the midpoint of the arc segment,
That curve's not there.
excuse me, Bev, are you operating under the misconception that that is the horizon?
That curve's not there because
That-
water doesn't
In our mind,
rise.
what you're arguing against, are you under the misconception that that sagittal, where it intersects the surface of the sphere, is our visible horizon? Or do you think that's what we're saying? Do you? Answer, please.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You know? I just presume that you've done some circular geometry, right? Because you've used a chord and a sagittal.
Saying
circular geometry.
Exactly.
What do you call
What
it
does
that?
circular geometry mean? You can't
You
just
put a
say random
circle there,
words.
right?
You're
You've
putting
used the
words
circle
together
in
a
order to get a
sentence,
chord
but you're
and a
not-
sagittal.
You're not delivering a coherent message, which means that nobody understands what you're saying, which is your problem, not everybody else's. Do you understand that?
Let's cut to the chase because
It
this
is your
is pretty
problem.
clear.
You can't communicate. You have a
This is
problem.
clear that you're completely misrepresenting what anyone has said, Bev. So the sagittal and the bridge. We described the length of the bridge. Then we described that you said that the distance from one end of the bridge to the other end of the bridge would be the same elevation the whole way, but it would not. There would be a sagittal because it's not creating a straight line.
No, I didn't.
And
I
then,
said it
hold on,
would be
Bev, hold on, Bev.
horizontal.
Hold-
I
Bev,
said,
hold on.
what would you imagine?
Bev, hold on, Bev. And then somebody described the sagittal in that bridge from one end length to the
that
other.
was curved,
Hold on,
right?
Bev. Hold on. And then we described the how there would be a hump right there. Let's say there's a visible hump in the middle of that bridge. The sagittal is the.
He was doing the Bislin hump.
The chord is the top of the chord to the straight line that would be there beneath the bridge. That's a sagittal. But then you went on to describe how that would be a visible hump to you.
He was doing the Bislin hump.
I didn't go on to describe.
Yeah,
how it would be
yeah.
a
In our
visible hump.
how that would be that way in our model,
24
right?
meter,
Bev,
24
yeah,
and
I
a
know.
half
Bev,
meter hump.
Bev, here's the fucking problem. Okay, you're describing it as if it would be the horizon.
3 coplanar points.
You're describing as if that hump would be
Geometric
where that
edge,
occurs.
I said, do you imagine it as being a geometric edge?
These two things are not even related. They're not related. That's not what your horizon is. That's just a random position because we're describing the length of the bridge.
You should have said
the
no.
bridge is not where
I
the
don't
bridge is not
imagine
where
it
your
as a
horizon
So
is.
we're not just going to say no. We're going to call you out on your bullshit.
And bam,
I was
there's
asking
the
a question, wasn't
radius
I?
of the Earth.
No, you
Yeah,
weren't.
well,
You were playing semantic games like you
No, I
always
was asking
do.
questions,
You're not asking
and you
questions.
guys were
No, you're
assuming
not.
that I was
No, you're not. You're
making some
pretending
sort
like
of a
you're asking
statement or
questions.
something.
That's because you're pretending like you're asking questions, but you're not. We know exactly what you're doing. You're playing semantic games.
Well,
That's
no,
what you're doing.
the whole point was
No,
to
no,
decide
no,
whether
let's be
you
real clear.
actually would
You are
agree
playing
that there is a
semantic
hump
games.
there in the middle.
We know
Is
that
there
you're
or
playing
isn't there?
semantic games. You're not interested in actually asking coherent questions. You're playing semantic games. Let's be real clear. That's what you're doing. You're not asking questions.
You know that the water level, right, test will work one way or the other, right? It is a horizontal plane of reference.
That's not.
Right now, do you imagine? It's not an assertion. It's practically used as such.
Over the distance we're talking about, you're making an assertion.
What distance?
You've not demonstrated it to be true.
What
You're
distance?
making an assumption of a flat plane.
Right, okay, well, let's make an assumption of a mile of water level.
Yeah.
Dude, you're still
what
claiming
happens
it's a
from the
flat plane.
point that you're at? Does it drop 8 inches?
Do it. Do it and look at it and find out.
Well, I'll tell you, it can't
You're
because
asserting that.
water finds its own level.
and you don't know
No,
what
it doesn't.
we're back in this
Water
loop.
doesn't find its own level.
So
who is that?
how
No,
about
it doesn't.
if we don't talk to you about this part of it
Sweet.
because it's useless? You say what you say. Nothing will change your mind. You refuse to understand. Do your test and demonstrate your assertions.
What assertions?
You know what assertions? The
No,
assertions.
I'm telling you as a fact that level is horizontal. Now,
That is
I'm
incorrect.
coming up with a test and a way
not
to
a fact,
prove
though,
that
Jim.
to you.
That's not a fact.
And giving
That's
you
not a fact. Not a fact.
a geometric proof also and logic proof to go with it.
Hey, Bev, I'm going to give you a geometric proof. A ball does not have an edge.
Find your meds, okay?
How are you able to know this for a fact before you've done the test, though, Bev? How is it a fact already?
That level is horizontal.
Well,
yeah, how is that?
That's
How are
fine.
you able to say that's a fact if you haven't actually done this test?
It is. Level is horizontal.
Oh, so you what's a fact and what isn't a fact is just decided by you, really. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I have done surveying and I have worked with these tools. And
Why?
I've
Yeah,
also
talked
to
a lot of
people that
people and they don't agree with you, do they?
Who have you talked to that agrees? Doesn't agree with me?
Well, I can look at the results from geodetic surveying that show, spherical excess in the triangles
what
that
tools
they're surveyed.
do they use?
Theodolites.
They use a theodolite, and
Blue Science is a structural engineer and
they measure
surveyor,
triangles.
and he disagrees with you.
With what sort of angles there, Jeff?
With a spherical excess, always
What's
with
that
a spherical excess. It means that that the triangles cannot possibly be on a flat plane and absolutely have to be on a sphere.
Oh, does that mean they measure triangles with more than 180 degrees?
Yes. Spherical excess. Yes.
Oh.
Every single time they do it, believe it or not.
Every single time they do it.
In every country that's been mapped like this, which is just about every country, for the last, 200 years, 250 years, this has been going on. Different people, different political motivations, different cultural and religious motivations, lived at different periods of history. Are they all in on it? How are they all? How are they all making this same mistake?
Can we just run over
Wait, what now?
how they do this, Jim?
What are they doing?
Well,
they stand at let's say point A, right?
Bev, let me hear them again.
No, why are we doing that?
No, I want to
Guys,
understand.
somebody's
what
asking
we've just
Jem a
been
question.
claimed.
Let Jem answer the guy's question, dude.
Well, they measure the angles between 3 points, and they go to each point and they measure the angle to the other 2 points, and from that they get their triangles. And every time they do that, those triangles.
Oh, what's going on here? A bit of triangle stuff. Nice.
Oh, have a spherical excess.
A question for Bev, which is quite simply this. You're saying that water always finds its level, yet all the largest bodies of water we observe not doing that. In fact, we actually have tides.
Yeah,
So,
we do
in
have
fact,
tides,
water
right?
is
Not on a canal,
demonstrable. Sorry, water is demonstrably not level when it's a large body. Okay, you might be able to take a small body and it's reasonably flat. Maybe that's not within the tolerance of your measuring instruments. But when we have large bodies of water, it's never flat, ever.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So can I just run you past a few things, Jem?
You can ignore that.
You know, we are using Euclidean geometry, right? When the surveyors are working, right?
They'd be using non-Euclidean geometry,
right.
wouldn't
So
they?
the laws of Euclidean
I'm
geometry.
not entirely sure, I have to say.
Oh.
I don't really know.
Well, let's say that if they're using a theodolite, then they're measuring angles. Then those angles are Euclidean.
Here you go. Look, here's some of the angles that they.
But them angles that they're measuring with the theodolite, you call them Euclidean, right?
No,
from a straight line to a straight line.
I just call them angles. I just call them angles. I don't have to worry about
straight lines, right?
Whether they're Euclidean or non-Euclidean.
Yeah, but it's a triangle,
They're just angles,
right, Jem?
They're just angles, aren't they?
Triangle, right?
We don't have We don't have Euclidean angles,
from-
do we? And non-Euclidean angles.
No, we don't.
They're just angles.
You're dead right.
Right. So why are you asking me?
So
then?
they're going
just
from
angles.
point A to point B and measuring the angle between the 2 points.
That's correct.
Along the surface of the Earth.
So that would be a straight line. So if you're making a triangle with 3 straight lines, do you know how many internal angles they have, Jem?
You got to respect what he said. They have a spherical axis, man.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
it's there. Look, address it. It's here, recorded. Here's the results. This is from the United States.
Can I just get a confirmation from you that you
No,
understand?
because you're being asked questions, and all you're doing is reflecting questions back to other people.
It sounds like you're helping. You're
here,
helping Jem
listen.
not answer a very simple question.
Listen. You're here asserting that the Earth is flat, and this is a fact. I'm
just
hang
saying
on,
that
hang on.
triangles
Still talking. I'm pointing out to you that hundreds of people, thousands of people have made these measurements in the past, and they're not finding the Earth's flat. Now, I understand that you want to know in detail what they've done, and the best thing to do is go and read what they've done, because you're here making this proclamation, and apparently this is something that you didn't even know about. And I think what you should be doing now is going, oh my God, I've missed this. I need to go and look into this straight away, right?
Are you
Wouldn't
done?
that be? Yeah,
Point of
I've
order.
done.
Right, okay. Well, of
Why
course I
aren't you
know
doing
about
that?
the fantasy of spherical.
Okay, so why are you
But,
pretending that you
Jem,
don't? Then?
are you going to let me talk or?
No, I'd like to know why if you've just been asking me about it as if you didn't know about it and you were
No, I
hearing
was just
about
getting
it for the
you to
first
confirm
time.
that you don't know
And
what
then
a
I
triangle is.
and then I say to you, you need to go and find out about it. You say, oh no, of course I know about it. So why are you doing this act where you pretend you don't know about
Just
it?
pointing
What's
out
that
to
for?
you that a
Is
triangle.
that part of your honest, truth-seeking approach to doing
Just
it?
pointing out to you, Jem, that a triangle has 3 straight sides and 180 degrees internal angles.
Yeah, but a spherical triangle doesn't.
Yes, very true. But as you've just said, you measured from using a theodolite, which is Euclidean, which means the angles are straight lines, which means you've just made a triangle with three straight lines.
What shape can you make with 3 points?
A triangle.
Right.
Irv, are you thinking that they measure one huge triangle? Is that what's in your mind? One huge triangle?
No,
instead
I think
of
a
hundreds,
triangle
if not
has 3 straight
thousands?
sides. I mean, yeah.
Oh my God. That's not what I said.
What's
That's what you
interesting to
told
me is that, you know, obviously they've done this stuff over land, but I keep it open because I haven't looked into it yet, but notice I'm not making assertions past my limits. They haven't done it, like there's more ocean than land, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm interested in how I'm going to be looking into the surveying ASAP.
Well, if all of the land fits a sphere of a certain size, I think it's a reasonable
do you
to,
know?
to
What are your limits?
infer that the rest of it is the same shape. Since it appears to be, there aren't any, you don't go across the ocean and find a massive valley somewhere or anything like that, do you?
Definitely. Listen, in principle, I would have to agree with you, but as far as the limits of your understanding,
No. The limits
that we
of
know
your
that they do it.
understanding. I accept pictures and video from space. I've seen the spherical Earth.
Hey, why are you interrupting me to do that? I'm not trying to be personal. What I'm saying is from what
I just hear you writing off everything that we've got from space.
I haven't. Whoa, man!
In half a sentence, and I just want to make sure that you don't get away with it easily.
Okay, nah, man. I'm just saying from the stuff that you said that people have been doing, like when you're referencing hundreds of years of it, right? You're not talking about space then,
right?
And I'm just presenting out that there's, they've done it kind of. I'm interested in the whole water being measured and everything like that. That's why I'm just trying to share with you personally why I'm keeping it open, and I will be looking into it ASAP.
Cool.
Hey, Don, do you know why they don't measure the water?
They do measure it now.
I just wanted to say
why they don't?
on the theodolite thing that Gav brought up.
Point.
No, I don't know.
Because they already know the answer.
Yeah, well, that's funny.
So how do you
Well, they
account
do.
for it then, Bev? If you
Sorry, can I
know
just
for
get
a
a point
fact
in
that
quickly,
the
Jeff?
Earth is flat, and these people are giving us the facts that it's not, the actual numerical facts. So how do you account for that? Did they all make a mistake? Are they all in
No.
on the lie?
Can you back that up?
How are they doing that? Back what up?
I mean, you're just saying they're giving that. You're kind of just saying it, like you haven't gone over any numbers, really.
Well, there were some posted in the chat, but obviously there were a lot of measurements taken across the USA on that one. So
Right. So your
there's many-
limits. You have a belief. You believe that it's working. You haven't looked into it or enough to break it down for us. So I'd like you to respect.
Hold
that.
on a minute. But how has it suddenly just become just a belief? Recorded numbers that people have recorded for on this occasion over
And
a
you
period of
believe.
years.
You believe they work.
So that it's just a belief. If it's supported by evidence, it was conducted by.
Personally to you, yes. Personally to you, yes, and you've witnessed that.
And we just say that's just a belief, is it?
For you personally, yes. You should be honest to that.
No,
You're
I think
admitting it.
I think
You're admitting
no.
it.
I'd say it's knowledge. It's something I know to be true.
What numbers do you know? Relevant to that. Have you looked into the numbers? No, you've said you haven't.
Posted in the chat for the third time. Have you bothered to look? No.
Look.
Because
I'm
you're not
talking with you.
interested.
I'm talking with you, bro.
No, you're
you
not.
just told me 20 seconds
Shut up.
ago
I'm speaking.
that you deferred to all the body of knowledge, man.
I am speaking now. I am speaking. For the third time, they're posted in the chat. Have you looked at them? No, because you already decided that you need to find some way to reject.
Nah, fuck that,
Shut
dude.
up. I'm still talking.
No, man. No, when you say wrong shit, I'm going to interrupt you. I haven't decided nothing.
Because you've muted. Because you've already decided that you have to find some way to reject it. And so the current line that you're going on is that it's just a belief and I don't really know about it. Even though there's a piece of 1,000-page document that's been posted in the chat. And I can get the rest of it for you if you really want. But one would hope that you would be inquisitive enough to look for yourself. Or at least look at the one that's in the chat. Go ahead.
Yes.
I would like to make a complaint. I got fucking muted for asking if I could make a point. Can someone fucking stop doing this?
You did pile on again, Druss. You know, I
can hold my point.
And you just stuck your point, just stuck my point behind your point,
and I
went
shut
on
up
with
as soon as you started.
Like you often do.
And I shut up as the other guy started.
Trust, do you hear?
And I let them finish.
Do you hear Scott?
All I wanted to say is they use a height stick with a theodolite, which means you're not measuring at the surface, which means you don't have to worry about the hump. That's all I was trying to say.
Yeah,
13 seconds of words, which was bang on point to what Bev was trying to say. Shut the fuck up,
This is even worse than 24/7, guys.
You were muted when you stomped all over Scott Mackey asking Don a question.
I'll fuck off for the night and you guys can carry on.
Good.
Who is I talking with? Because I understand y'all are boss. Look, I don't want it to be like I'm looking for a reason to deny it. And when whoever I was talking with, I thought it was Jem or Scott, whoever it is. When I'm saying like I'm trying to say you believe it and you haven't looked into it, that was just my understanding from when I quickly asked you what are the numbers, and I got a response as if, oh well, all of society's been working on it forever. What are you going to deny? I felt like, okay, this is the point where you break it down to the kindergartner if you really are Mr. Know-It-All on the subject. And I didn't mean it personally, man.
I think I explained how it was carried out. The thing was posted in the chat with the numbers on. I mean, I'm not really sure what else you want me to do. I mean, they measured points. They measured the angles between 3 points. It's not that complicated.
Can I be fair? Can I just ask a fair question? It's my feeling like you possibly haven't delved in and hard scrutinized it, right? I mean, is that fair?
Well, what does hard scrutinized mean? What would that mean?
Well, just your pause is enough to give me my answer. Like, I mean, like.
Well, I don't know what you mean. You said hard scrutinized. What would that? What would that?
I don't know. I don't want to. I'm just saying, like, this is.
How would
this
you
is
go
where
about
Okay, here's what I'm saying. Listen, I'm on the fence. These people are over asserting what they know too, and we're breaking it down like, look, this works, right? So if it's so strong for you on how it works, and I don't want to challenge you, and I'm not trying to assert that you don't, but if you could please honor me and share with me more on how exactly it works. Like I share with you, I feel like when they've been doing stuff and they've seen a spherical axis, sure, that could have been hinted from 100 years ago. Maybe now they're saying a conspiracy started in this century, right? So
Yeah, I mean,
it
I
has
had
the
both
water,
open.
you know.
I
And I
was-
said,
so actually, that's
I
quite
share
good.
with you, I'm
Both get a view for that. I had
interested
both
in
open.
what's
I
been
had
done over the
him-
water, you know, and
Actually,
that's what I share. So
I had
whatever.
them both muted because I was listening to him on
If
the
you're really
meeting
interested,
software. Because
man,
otherwise, I've
please.
got my
If you're
OBS
really interested in
showing
this,
one
Jessica
delay. I've got
Kozlowski does a
my,
bunch of stuff on how you
meeting
can do
room
experiments
projector
yourself to
live,
see
and
the
then I've got two
spherical
YouTube channels running
to see the spherical excess.
paces.
No,
you
that's,
can go,
that would be
you can go
geometry. That wouldn't be an
So about
I was in
experiment.
the middle
would
of
it?
talking.
zones
Shut
and
your
things,
fucking
so
mouth.
rather complicated. I'm
Anyway,
amazed
Jessica
when-
Kozlowski has a bunch of
my
simple
hand up.
experiments that you can do with
I'll
really
hold my
cheap
hand up
gear
in
that
a
you
minute.
can get
Although
on
I have both
Amazon.
streams open,
And,
I was watching
with
Cats,
equipment that you can get on
but that's
Amazon,
only
you can do it
because
yourself
I'm a
and
moderator
just go
in his
do it for
channel,
yourself.
so
If
I
you're actually
feel
interested
something
in that way,
watching
that's
that
what you can do.
Okay.
I don't think anybody can
I
give you giving people hard numbers in a Discord voice chat doesn't really make too much sense to me. Asking for that to me sounds silly.
Not a problem.
You can explain the experiment and how to do it, and if the experiment, you should be able to understand that the experiment would show one thing if it was flat and another thing if it was spherical, and then you can go to the experiment yourself to confirm which one it is.
So were you happy to call geometry an experiment?
Geometry is a description or a way to break down lines and shapes and postulate certain axioms based on what we already know to be true. Like drawing a line between 2 points, we assume that is true. That's axiomatic Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, and how would that be classed as an experiment? How would you
Anything
turn that into an experiment?
Anything that you test is an experiment.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't test axioms though. I mean, the idea that you can draw a straight line between 2 points is axiomatic. Are you going to claim that you can't do that?
He's objecting to your use of the word experiment because he goes with the one that Nathan Oakley taught him.
I really like the use
he
of the word
thinks that
experiment.
he thinks that that's all there is. And,
No.
you know, they think
Jem.
think that it has to be 4 steps.
Jem,
yeah,
I really like the idea
deny
of
it and then spout out his
being
4-step program.
an
Go on.
experiment, but QE doesn't. So I'm all for it being an experiment if we can make it into an experiment.
Well, again,
QE doesn't like the idea of it being an experiment.
Again, you're sort of cluing on to some weird idea that if we term it an experiment, that somehow gives it some extra qualification in some way.
Well, you're giving it that qualification that QE doesn't seem to want to give it.
Experiment means test.
So does that mean QE's standards are higher than yours?
It means he's got some absurd, weird standard that he's drawn up himself. It's not higher, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Well, experiment is just varying one thing to see what happens. So by that definition, it is a test. If you're tweaking one thing to see what happens, when you
that's
change
not
the
true either.
location, look through a theodolite or whatever, it would still technically be an experiment. It would not be a cause and effect.
You'd just be looking through a theodolite, right, though?
It would just be a general experiment.
So looking through a theodolite is an experiment now, is it?
See, technically, yes.
Okay, so taking a picture with a camera is an experiment.
Doing the 3-point
Brilliant,
measurement.
Lemon.
I think
you've
doing the
sorted
3-point,
fine.
doing the 3-point measurement that we're talking about, that could be termed an experiment. No,
Sure.
Because you would be testing. You would be testing to see if you did or did not get a spherical excess.
Yeah, if you respect the work, dude, it's always the truth gonna speak for itself, dude.
Can I just get that qualifier off, Jem? Because you seem to have said it yet again. When you measure an angle between 2 points, you make a straight line, right? There's 2 straight lines needed in order to make an angle.
No,
they're
not. No.
2 straight lines connected at a point.
So, when they say you need an angle, you need
all you need is
two
3
arms.
points. All you need is 3 points, don't you?
Two
There
arms,
are no
two straight
lines.
lines.
Well, there are no lines. You're
Like
going from
a
like
vertex
one hill.
point where they two lines pivot around, and then the angle's the bit in between. Let me get something for you.
Okay. Let me. You're going from one hill to the next, right?
Okay. No, I'll find a thing for you. You get.
Yo, I can see why, man. I can see why, you got to be tough a little bit sometimes, Jim, man. I understand, man, but please,
in the chat
forgive
box
me
there.
for coming
Is
off
that all
like I was
right?
denying anything, bro.
Have a look at that in there. Does that look good? Parts of an angle.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two straight sides.
Right. Okay. But there are no lines here.
But look, it says
measuring
and the two
between 2
straight
points.
sides are called arms, right? Like, you
If
just
you like,
imagine
yeah.
a point at the end of it, but that would be a straight line, wouldn't it? From
I know, but I
your
just want you
angle
to be
come from
clear.
one
I
point
just
to
want
the
you
other.
to be clear that you're measuring between 2 hills. There are no lines. Nobody makes a line.
Points though, that you've got a rod or something
you
that
do
you're
make,
measuring
you do
from
do
the
that.
angle
You
between.
do do that,
right?
yeah. But I just want that to be clear because I know where you might drag this.
But that would make it 3 straight sides to a triangle, right?
No, why would it? Why? There you go. That's where I knew you were going. Where have those straight sides
Just said the
suddenly
angle
come from?
needs 2 straight.
Oh, what's going on here? A bit of triangle stuff. Nice.
That would be true if the angle was 180 degrees through all 3 angles, but it's not. So the sides are not straight.
But a triangle has 3 straight sides and 180-degree internal angles.
Right, and these triangles do not have 180-degree internal angles. How many times do I have to say this?
How does that happen, Jem?
Because the Earth's curved, Bev.
Oh.
The Earth is flat, and this is a fact.
So...
What?
I don't know what Lemon's talking about. Just ignore Lemon.
Over 200 years, they've all made the same mistake and not noticed the lens being curved.
Right, so can you...
Does
apart
that
from
sound
you
like a
imagining
reasonable
it, Jem,
explanation?
apart from you
I'm sorry?
imagining it, do you know anyone that's actually done this?
Yes, I do. I know Jesse Kozlowski. Who's
Jesse,
that's
okay.
what he does for a living. That's his job.
He's a hobbyist. That's his hobby.
No, that's his job.
No, that's his hobby.
He is a professional surveyor.
No, he's retired. He's retired.
So,
he's a
he's
hobby.
not. What the hell are you talking about?
I don't think he is.
I don't. Dude.
No,
Right,
they were
I
all
don't think
saying
he
the
is
other day he's retired. He's not a professional
Well,
surveyor anymore.
even if that were true, he would still have been a professional surveyor.
You're still a professional when you're retired anyway. It doesn't even
Right.
make sense.
You don't.
You don't lose that knowledge.
No, they were definitely saying he was a hobbyist.
Is he retired or still working?
No, that's
No,
you
he-
saying
Who
he's a
was
hobbyist.
saying that?
He does geodesy as a hobby, but he is.
Aaron
But he is.
Burrell, it was. He's
Okay.
another surveyor.
Why does this guy just talk over me? I know Jesse personally. We've had multiple interactions in real life. Like, I'm telling you that the guy is a surveyor, and he is he does geodesy as a hobby. But he is a surveyor. He absolutely is professionally a surveyor.
Do you know Geistview as well? I mean, I think.
No, I've never met him in real life.
Bev, are you a professional
There you go.
surveyor?
It's like, you know, Slice Barcane, right?
What does this have to do with Jesse Kozlowski?
What?
What are you doing about addressing these measurements, Bev? How do you account for it?
I'm doing this at the minute. I'm finding this screenshot where
He's
Aaron
obfuscating.
Burrell,
Yep. He's found out that Jesse is in
Well,
fact
look,
a professional surveyor and is trying to, get off the point.
No.
If you can find,
No,
presumably
why
you're
would I
looking
want
for
to do
some
that?
measurement that refutes this in some way or contradicts this, but these measurements still stand. How do you account for them?
There you go.
Right.
Have a look.
He can be
In the debate chat box there, right? You've got Aaron Burrell, who we call the disco ball surveyor. He says that he and the main surveyor are the surveyors that he knows of. And Sly Sparkane comes along and says, Jesse too, but I believe he does it more as a hobby. Then Geistview comes along and says, Jesse retired and does it as a hobby now. Right? So
right.
I'm not just making this stuff
How does
up.
this Jesse
Sly
Kozlowski-
Sparkane and Geistview have
Jesse
said that.
Jesse Kozlowski didn't do any of the measurements that I presented. All you did, the only reason his
You
name
just
came
said
up,
he did, though, didn't
hang
you?
on. No, I did not. That's a complete and utter lie. His name came up because you said, "Have I ever spoken to a surveyor?"
No,
so
I said
yes.
I said who
So I
has
said
measured
yes.
these
So I said
triangles?
yes. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Obviously, I wouldn't have said he did it. You asked me if I knew a surveyor, and I said yes. So Jesse Kozlowski is irrelevant to these measurements. How do you account
I was asking
for
you
them?
if who had measured these triangles with
So you
larger
can't
than
account for the
180
measurement.
degrees.
So you're just going to divert from the question and try and not answer it again.
Go on, what is the question? But remember that we're on triangles, right?
How do you account for those measurements?
What measurements?
Oh, fuck off.
The ones that you said that people have done where they measured triangles of greater than
The
180
set of measurements that we've been
degrees
talking
internal
about.
angles.
Yes, those ones. Yes.
Well, I would say triangles have 3 straight sides and 180
So you're just going to deny the numbers in that.
angles.
So you're just going to deny the fact that they recorded a spherical excess on every triangle. You're just going to pretend that
The
isn't
only
there.
way that can happen
That's the way you're going to deal with
geometrically
it as an adult.
would be for
Well
the lines to be bent.
Yeah, the lines are bent. That's how
So they're not
spherical
straight lines
triangle.
then, and you can't measure an angle between.
No, there are no lines, Bev. As I
curved
pointed
straight
out,
lines.
over and over and over again, there are no lines.
So how
you made up
how
the
do they
lines.
get curves?
There
then?
are no lines.
So when they're
There are
measuring the
points.
curve angle between the points, how do they get more than 180 degrees?
Jesus Christ. How many times does this have to be explained to you, Bev?
Oh, no,
I'm
I'm
not
not
gonna
going to do it.
No,
again.
no, you're not
I'm
explaining
definitely
it
not
to
gonna
me.
do
You're
it
trying to
again.
get it sorted
No,
in your own
listen,
heads.
All I want to
how you
know is how
measure.
you. All I want to know is how you account for it, and how you account for it.
Account
is
for
to-
it by
how you
saying
account for it is
it's
to
not
pretend
geometrically possible. They haven't
So
done it.
So just denial.
Yeah,
Just
you
denial.
you just claimed something that was pretty much impossible. But I
How
mean,
is it impossible? You can draw a
triangles
spherical
only have
triangle
180 degree.
Can you
internal
draw
angles.
what about spherical triangle, Bev? What does that have on its internal angles?
I wouldn't know. I mean, like, how would you draw a spherical triangle?
There's one being look. Flashburner's posted one being drawn in the chat now. Look, that's how you draw it. There you go.
Where's that?
The thing that's ironic about that is a very
Shut up, Lemon. Let him try and pretend this. Keep trying to pretend there's no such thing as a spherical triangle. We're working on that at the moment.
If I may just interject quickly, you needed to use a straight line radius to get the circumference and the surface area of that spherical triangle. So somewhere along
We're
the
not
line,
talking about circumferences.
non-Euclidean,
Right, we're not.
non-curved line needed to be used for that spherical triangle, even, that spherical triangle from which you're deriving these curved lines. So why don't we just refer to the best standard that we have, the straight line from Euclidean geometry, period, and talk about these curving lines as deviations from that absolute, preferred standard. Why are we talking about this mind-destroying curved line stuff that leads nowhere and leaves us with no standard?
I'm sorry your mind is so fragile, Lemon.
He really.
You're picking inferior mind-killing standards that don't even allow you to judge the curvature of the Earth anymore.
An absolute ramble.
Mind killing.
I know. We just measure it, dude. It's simple as that.
You're measuring the curvature of the lens and assuming straight lines are coming through curving lenses.
Well, we would expect to get different
I don't
measurement,
know what
different
Lemon's talking
lenses,
about
wouldn't we?
there,
And we don't.
really. I think Lemon's
Oh, look,
assuming
here's
that
Jesse
triangles
calling
have
me
more
out.
than 180 degrees and saying so
So, have
is
you
actually
accepted
possible
that-
with bendy
have you
lenses.
Have you accepted there's such a thing as a spherical triangle, Bev, or are you still going to deny that? Even though you can see one being drawn in the chat right now.
Yeah, it's the people with theodolites, the claiming to be able to do it with theodolites, the bit that I find fascinating, and how you
No, the
can
bit you were
accept-
finding, the bit you were finding troubling a minute ago was the concept of a spherical triangle. Apparently, you didn't understand how one could be drawn.
A triangle has 3 straight sides, like I said at the beginning.
Yeah, but we're not talking about a triangle. We're talking about a spherical triangle, and
But
you
you were
didn't
measuring
understand how
were measuring angles between 2 points with the theodolite.
And you didn't understand how a spherical triangle could be drawn, did you?
I didn't.
So,
No. Like the
do you
drawing
now
a
understand
spherical
that?
triangle is
Do you now
different
understand that?
than
We need to
getting
go-
a
we need to do this.
theodolite out and
I
measuring.
understand that, but we need
an
to go
angle.
one step at a time, Bev. And you
did
didn't get
say
that,
that
first
you
step,
did that.
you?
Can you remember
You were
that, Jim?
denying the existence of spherical triangles.
I
a few
didn't
minutes
do
ago.
that. No, I didn't
So,
do that.
all right. So we've established the existence of spherical triangles. Do you
yeah,
understand how one? Do you understand how one
on
could
a
be
sphere,
drawn now?
right?
Do you understand how one could be drawn now?
On a
Because
sphere.
You didn't understand that either,
On
did
a
you?
sphere, okay.
Do you understand how one can be drawn now?
On a sphere.
How is that? How is on a sphere the answer to that question?
Because that's where you get spherical triangles, right, Jem?
Okay, right, good. Okay. That'll do. That'll do for now.
Right, now, are you drawing triangles on balls in reality? Or are you using a particular form of geometry to do this?
Bev. No lines, just points and angles. No lines, Bev. No drawing.
You need 2 points.
No drawing,
to draw
no lines.
Right, okay, so you don't draw lines. So you've just got 3 points.
Look, Bev, try and listen.
That's just 3 points.
You're measuring the angles between 3 points, usually hilltops or something like that, okay? There are absolutely no lines. You don't draw any lines, okay? You just measure the angles.
Yeah,
you're standing on one hill.
You do,
Let me explain it to you. You're standing on one hill. In front of you, you see 2 hills, right? That makes an angle, right?
Yeah, from one point to another.
From where you are.
So you call that a point of a triangle, right?
Well, you've got an angle now, haven't you? That's one of your angles of your triangle.
Yep.
Let's call it 60 degrees, shall we?
Oh, what's going on here? A bit of triangle stuff. Nice.
You have a point.
Now you go to one of the other hills that you were previously looking at, and you measure the angle to the other 2 hills. And then you go to the third one and you do the same.
Yep.
And you will not get 60 degrees or it won't add up to 180 degrees.
Yeah,
that tells you
you'd be getting sacked, Jem, if it didn't.
I don't think that's correct.
All right. Okay. If you say so. But...
Yeah.
No, man, come on.
Denial.
That's reality, Jem.
No, if you go on line of sight, you're going to have 180 degrees. Line of sight all the way around, it's 180 degrees, and it's just single point.
But line of sight isn't actually how those angles are measured. They're not measured between 2 lines of sight. They're measured between 2 azimuth angles.
Right.
Okay, but that's how Jem was explaining it, almost line of sight. Unless I
was trying to make it simple, and I'm missing bits out on the way.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Right, but triangles have 180-degree internal angles, right?
And if we measure more than that between our 3 points, then we don't have a flat triangle now, do we?
Who said that? Who's doing that?
Geometry said that.
Right. Non-Euclid.
So are you using a theodolite to do that for sighting this angle?
Why can't you use a compass?
I could use a tube on I could look through a straw on a compass.
All right. Can I have 5 seconds here? I just got off the phone with Jesse, and Jesse says that he does survey work every single day. That is his profession. He is still active. He is not retired. He is not a hobbyist.
Okay,
and
so we can tell
all this is coming, and all this is coming straight from. He's linked the video. This is all coming straight from Sleeping Warrior, who's just making the raw accusation.
No, I just put it in there.
Oh yeah,
it was Slice Arcade.
Sounds very much like a.
No, this is Sleeping Warrior.
What is
making this
very
accusation.
much like a Sleeping Warrior?
I put it in the chat.
He always has to do this.
Should I do it again?
Anyway, so you're simply wrong, and the people that are spreading this
rumor or just
Slice
trying to do it
Barcane,
to discredit.
Jesse too.
I don't
but
care
I believe
who said it.
he does
they're
it more
wrong.
as a hobby. Geisto
I don't
says
think they're wrong.
Jesse
I
retired.
do not
and it
care.
Does it
I
as a
don't care
hobby
who
now.
said it. I don't care who said it.
That's not.
Whoever you
that's
think
not
is the
Sleeping
biggest
Warrior,
and baddest
though.
baller.
It's not.
Whoever you think is the biggest and baddest baller could have said it, and I don't give a rat's ass. The truth of the matter is not what you're saying, and you're simply spreading a lie at this point.
It's there are tweets.
And let me guess.
In the chat.
You know what? I'm going to hold you to account on this. The next time I hear you say that about Jesse, I'm just going to call you straight out as a liar, because I know for a fact that you will say it again.
Are you looking in the debate chat box?
Give a rat's ass. You made an accusation about Jesse, and I just proved you wrong.
Right. I said that I'd been told by someone.
And
I
now
then
you've been
came back
told
and
the
told
correction.
you who it was. It was Sly.
I don't care.
and
The
Geisty.
citation is wrong, which means he's still wrong as well.
Okay.
This is really.
I'll tell.
It's pointless. It's silly. Why is he
He's
relevant?
not retired. He has a job. He has an active job where he sets control points for bridges, tunnels, and roads right now. That's what he does.
Does he measure triangles larger than 180-degree internal angles?
On his channel. He's done it on his channel, dude.
He's done it.
Go and look at his channel.
Dear God. It's amazing how you just got totally thrashed and you're just going to go ahead and try and stick to those guns. That's amazing.
Right.
Listen, Soundly, I know.
Pointless, isn't it? It's pointless.
Oh, Lemon, shut up.
I've just
Why are
turned
you
it
here,
down.
Bev? What have you come here for, Bev? Anyway, what?
Me?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
I've come to find out about the 2v2 debate thing.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
You twat.
How do we know the Earth is not flat?
We don't. It's flat. Of your understanding of the world in which you live, then of course the world looks flat. The world looks flat. The world looks flat.
Neil,
Bitch. You twat.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
That's what I do. 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 What I do.
But I don't have much patience for anyone who denies that this challenge is real. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society.
My friends, these people are so out of touch with science. You don't need to be a scientist to know that the Earth is round.
They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed that the world was round.
Like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash.